I'm Kai Perrignon. It's April 6th, 2026, 12 p.m. It's my time, and I'm chatting with Case Esparros, the
Yeah.
writer-director of The Absence of Milk and the Mouths of the Lost, and sometimes I think we all go up and smoke, and King Baby, and other wonderful films. Thank you so much for screening your work with us, and thanks for chatting with me today, Case.
Yeah, Kai. Yeah. We've been talking online for a couple, I don't know, kind of a while, huh?
Yeah, hot minute. Yeah, I'm excited to get
Yeah.
the screening going. So, uh,
Of
I
Australia. I
it's
think this is the
getting
first time it's played in Australia.
really? Oh,
Any of them. Yeah.
it's a good vibe. Let me describe to you where it's going to play because I think you'll appreciate it. So we have a micro cinema, right? Which is Felix, the who you chat to online. He lives out back, and in front is like a storefront. And then there's all these cinema seats in there, or like canvas cinema seating. So I feel like it kind of fits the energy of your movies a bit, you know? Uh,
Yeah, totally. Just in a store.
it's just in a store, but it's a beautiful space. I would say top three cinemas in Melbourne. That's my honest opinion. I
Oh
would
man.
like to do stuff there, but
Yeah, yeah, totally. But I hope, I mean, there's a reason you do stuff there.
exactly.
But I hope yeah, I hope to see it one day.
There's you're this is a tangent, but we screen we have really nice projector. We screen onto a beautiful wall. And some people don't like the wall. They want the screen, even if the screen's worse. They would rather the screen than the wall. Do you have thoughts on this?
You mean playing my film on a screen or a wall?
Yeah. Or just in general,
Uh,
watching movies on screens or walls.
I guess it's totally just like space based, you know? I
Hmm.
mean, I think my films have screened on walls. My films have screened in big cinemas. And my films have screened in backyards with a sheet
Beautiful. Beautiful.
and garages and pretty much anywhere you can think of, they've played.
Oh yeah.
So I'm for it as long as you see it. I'd rather not people not watch it on their iPhone or whatever. But
Yeah,
other
I feel
than
like
that,
that would be that's
that's
yeah, I feel like people told me that they were watching stuff. I'm like, don't watch stuff on your phone. Don't watch a whole movie on your phone, you know?
yeah. I think it's like I don't mind how you watch it, but as long as you're kind of locked in and you're not going to be distracted.
Hmm.
That's the, that's like the only thing I ask for.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay, so my first like real question here is like, okay, your movies, and I say this is the as the absolute highest compliment I can give you, which is like I think they are so truly pure underground movies in the sense that like you're working with pretty low budgets and in a way that I don't think a studio would ever give you money to do exactly what you're doing here. Like they feel like very, very specific visions coming from you and your crew. Um, what is your experience kind of like working as a micro budget filmmaker in LA broadly?
It's weird in LA because we're like an industry city. And kind of what I learned, I mean, I think when Absence of Milk came out, it was around 2023. And even finding a place to premiere the film, like you'd think it'd be really easy. Like I think a lot of people think LA, like there's like a bunch of theaters everywhere and like everyone can screen and it's this community thing, but that's not true at all. It's like for people like me, it's like we really need to rely on these like spaces, these like kind of micro cinema spaces. That really, I mean, LA's actually cool. It's having a cool resurgence right now. There's a micro cinema I love called Whammy Analog. They play great stuff. But a couple years, especially when my first film King Baby came out, there was nothing like that here, and it was really hard to screen things. And when I went on tour for my film's Absence of Milk, I went to a bunch of cities and I screened it in micro cinemas, all that stuff. And I kind of realized, like in that moment, I was like, man, there's a lot of better resources away from LA in terms of just getting your work to be seen. Um, yeah, I mean, I live here, but it's not some like statement I'm making by like making these films in LA. This is just where I've lived for 20 years.
And what brought you there? What brought you to LA in the first place?
Well, I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana. What brought me to LA was pretty simple. It was like my parents moved here when I was like 10.
Yeah,
Yeah, we left New Orleans. My dad got a job. He was like a news guy. He got a job in like the news stations. And yeah, we moved here, and then it was one of those things where I just from 10 on, I just started living here, and I just my community was here, and I just haven't really left. And now my parents don't even live here, so I'm still just here.
there. Do you feel like moving to the Hollywood town influenced your like want to get into filmmaking? Or was that already percolating when you were in New Orleans?
Yeah, I was totally percolating. I really don't think it's affected me that much. I think New Orleans, I mean it's exciting. I mean LA is really great and there's a reason Hollywood is here because it's like locations and all that stuff are like pretty like I can tend to think of a film, imagine the whole thing and find the locations here and make it come to life. And I think that's obviously why Hollywood came here. And that's, I mean, it's hard to live here. It's expensive, but it's like the thing is like that really kind of keeps me grounded here is the fact that like the look. I don't know. I love location scouting here.
Hmm. Okay,
But
let's.
yeah, no, I was always watching movies on TV, like Turner Classic Movies, all that stuff, and I was making kind of handheld movies with my brothers as a kid and stuff. So I was like, that stuff was very that stuff was influential. I don't think it was based in Hollywood because like my parents aren't like Hollywood people or whatever, and they're not from Los Angeles, so I didn't have any of that life or whatever. So I don't know.
Um, I want to get back to this thing you talked about a second ago, which is location scouting. Let's on a table that for a second. But before that, it's kind of still. I'm just still thinking about this. I'm always because I moved. I told you before we started recording. I moved across the world to Australia here, and I'm like thinking of how that's like in my zone. Did you ever envision yourself, or do you still envision yourself like working within the studio system? Is that something you wanted or do want?
Um, well, I would do anything for work at this point.
Hmm.
So, in terms of my own creative
Yeah.
like my creative artist side of my life, not really. As long as I mean I really do believe in my vision coming to life and me having creative control on that because I want to watch a film and all the good, the bad, all that stuff. I want to own it myself, and I have kind of like more of like a one track mind on that kind of thing. So I think it's one of those situations where I don't know if a studio would be able to allow that, and I don't really, that world kind of scares me. Um, but if a studio wanted to fund my next feature and they gave me creative control and there was like good deals to be made, I wouldn't be opposed to it at all. I'm not trying to make some statement like I just make my films the only way I know how.
Hmm. Hmm.
I don't know how to work in that world.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. No, I very much feel you. Like if someone's just like, here's a bunch of money, go do it. That sounds awesome.
I would do it.
Yeah. Um, I think about like when Abel Ferrara shoots movies now, apparently it's like they'll get like 20 grand and they'll go shoot until the 20 grand runs out and then just wait around until the next amount of money comes. That sounds kind of fun too.
Um, well, yeah, that's kind of how Absence of Milk was made a little. That's why every time I'm shoot, I have to. It's so on and off. That's like how it has to go. It's like you can't. It's not. It was like that was like a 3 year shoot, but just on and off. Like if you put it all together, it was probably like only 3 weeks,
Hmm.
but it was 3 weeks in 3 years.
Yeah. Hmm. It does not feel like that, by the way. It does not feel. It feels very like in the same moment. That's awesome. Movie magic.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, there's some shots that were like a year and a half difference, which is kind of crazy.
That's so good. Yeah, someone opens the door. The other side of the door is a whole other time. Okay.
Yeah, it does happen. Yeah.
Okay. Let's get into milk. The absence of milk and the mouths of the lost. Then I have more questions about kind of King Baby later. But like, okay. First of all, amazing title. Amazing title. You got great titles in
Oh,
general,
yeah.
but I think this one in particular. How'd you get to this title?
Well, it was really intentional for me to have a long title in a way that I was like, I made this film King Baby before that movie, and then another movie called King Baby came out, and it was really stressful because a lot of people were like messaging me, emailing me, thinking I was the guy who made this other King Baby film, and I was like, no, that's not my film, and I was just like, and then I started getting angry about confusion and stuff like that. But so then that was like, I was like, never again am I going to do such a tiny title that can be confused with something else. Um, but that was and then I don't know. I think there was something about doing a title like that. I think literature like tends to have more kind of titles like that films are a little scared to have. And Yeah, I just wanted it to be like a poem. And just basically say like everything that is what the film, just the essence of what the film is. That was really important to me. And I don't know. Yeah. The next title for my next feature is good too. But
Which
like I think I'm gonna keep up with these long titles for sure.
I like really like the long titles. I do, as you just said, like I do think the movie really does. Like before I saw the movie, I was like, wow, fascinating title. And after I watched it, I went, yeah, yeah, that's the movie.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
It is such, you say it's like it is like a poem, just like a one-line poem. Okay, so into the actual movie proper, which I rewatched a couple days ago, that opens with a live cow birth, and then like kind of lots of shots of cows in these industrial farming conditions.
Mhm.
You were talking about like location scouting earlier, like well, who are these cows? Where did you find them? What was was the farm happy for you to film there? Like that's the first question. Just like how did you get find this space? How did you get there?
Yeah, so the cow that's giving birth in the very intro of the movie, that is a completely different spot than I shot the industry cows. That cow, there was a ranch here called Zorthian Ranch in Altadena, California, and I had a lot of friends living there at the time, and I know that they have cows there. And it was one of those things where I was like, I wrote that into the script that the film was going to open up with a cow birth, but it was probably one of the last things I shot because I was like, I'm so stressed about like, I'm like, how am I going to actually do that? And then I let them know because the film was like 3 years long. I let them know pretty early on. I'm like, if you have a cow that's going to give birth, just like let me know. And one day I got a text and they're like, oh, it's probably going to happen this morning. I was like, got up at like 5 a.m. with this like little Canon camera and got it. That footage was probably like 6 a.m. or something. Um, yeah, it's
That's
pretty crazy. And then
yeah.
the industrial cows were that was at a man, what was it called? I think it's Brosier's Milk. On their website, they allow tours of the dairy farm because I wanted to open up the film as a dairy farm, kind of cows being separated from their parents and being industrialized and taken advantage of. And and on their website they had free tours of the dairy farm. And I was like, oh my gosh, like that's crazy. So I scheduled a tour with my camera and when I went, it was kind of clear to me that they don't want like they want to say that like they want to do that to be like oh look like we don't cause any harm to the animals like you can come see for yourself but they put you in this shuttle and I took a whole tour with what would have been incredible footage and I have my camera I'm kind of hiding it and I'm trying to get footage and the bus is rigged to reflect footage and kind of like it was weird and it destroyed all the footage I was getting um and it was that same day that all the intro was filmed, and I was like, oh no, like it was a failed mission. And then in that area, I forgot where, I was like 6 hours out from LA in some Northern California. And in that mission, I pulled over, I pulled my car over and I found most of the cows that are behind the barbed wire. And I just like, kind of went and filmed them. And I was kind of scared there's gonna be a farmer or whatever, like, don't do this. And that never really happened. And I was just with them and I was able to actually get those kind of shots. But originally there was cows like getting milked with machinery and stuff that I couldn't get. But yeah.
That that's that's beautiful. That's a beautiful story. I mean, I'm sad you didn't get all the footage you wanted to, but it's you turned the failed mission around.
Yeah, yeah, in the same day too.
The same day. Well, I don't. You said like you didn't get the footage of like the full on like the milking machines or whatever, but it does feel not nice. It certainly is making me feel empathetic to the plight of the cows. Do you think this does this reflect your feelings on industrial farming like in general?
It was so funny because it was like almost a subconscious thing. At beginning, it was like this thing I was like, I knew I was like, I feel this feels wrong, like industrial farming to me. And it wasn't until, and so many people watch this movie and, you know, ask me if I'm a vegetarian and stuff. And it was like these, like, there's many moments in the film that were like, meat is definitely seen as evil. And, the act of like just eating a corpse. And I wasn't a vegetarian, but recently in the last like 2 months I've been, and it kind of hit me where I was like, yeah, I can't do this anymore, but it took me a while. But yeah, I don't agree. I don't agree with anything they were doing at the dairy farm.
What was the 2 months ago? What was the do you have a moment that kind of flipped the switch in your brain?
It's kind of weird. I felt like I just like woke up. It was like on Ash Wednesday, and I like went to church, and then I was like, why are we doing this? Like, why are we eating corpses? And just to me, I was like, if I'm putting a corpse in my body, that seems like bad energy.
Mhm. What? Wait. Okay. This is what kind of church do you go to? I kind of want to ask. I want to ask you about religion a bit later. But what kind of church?
Well, right diagonal from me is a Catholic church.
Okay. So it's a
Yeah,
Catholic church. Okay. So this is
so
something I
I
was
just
thinking.
popped in there really quick.
This is something I was thinking about with the movies, which is that Catholicism has the you eat the flesh of Christ, right? It's like ritual, metaphorically, ritualistically, whatever. And I was thinking of
Uh,
like also there's the story of like the soccer team in the Andes. I forgot what the name of the team. Like, is it the Peruvian team or the Chilean team in the 90s? You know?
oh, each other.
Yeah, they ate each other, right? And then they apparently in that process, right? One of the ways they like rationalized or like were able to like convince themselves to allow themselves to eat the flesh of their dead teammates was they were very Catholic and they were thinking of it in those terms, and that kind of allowed them to take that step. So it's just interesting to me that you're like, so do you find any tension here, or like how do you feel about the kind of eating the flesh in the church metaphorically versus the real life thing? Sorry, I feel like it's got real crazy immediately, but
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, but it's a metaphor.
it's a metaphor.
Yeah, yeah. I think there's consuming Jesus and consuming all of Jesus is the best way to phrase that is eating his flesh, but it's more just consuming what he taught and acting.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah,
Fair enough.
I'm a really terrible Catholic though, so
Sorry?
I'm not. I'm a terrible Catholic. I'm not the
You're
best to ask.
terrible. What does it mean to be a terrible Catholic?
I probably just sin a lot.
Is that
Actually, no, I'm a pretty good Catholic. I try not to. I don't know. I take it back. But I don't know. I don't go to church as much
mhm.
as I should probably.
I feel like maybe you and Scorsese similarity there.
Oh,
He-
yeah, I love that. Yeah, I love. Yeah, I don't
um,
know. I think Catholicism is so rooted in cinema. you
yeah.
know? Oh
Oh,
yeah, it's like totally that push and pull and damning of faith and I don't know. It's just like it's really in tangent for me.
hmm hmm Do you I feel like I'm getting deep in the weeds here. Okay. So let's go back to this. We're come back to religion a bit later. So um, look into the actual milk zone, into the milk zone. I want to talk a bit about the milkman character, because
Yeah.
I find him in my when I first watched the movie a few years ago. My memory of the milkman as a character, he becomes softer in my head, I think. And when I rewatched the movie, I was struck by like, oh, he is soft in some ways, but he is also very menacing. And he seems on some level genuinely kind, but also he is a force of violence, kind of depending on how I guess you interpret the ending. Can you just kind of talk about your conception of this character and how do you feel about him?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that was definitely everything you said kind of what was I was thinking about him. I mean, do you know the artist Gary Wilson who plays the milkman?
Yes, I've listened to after the movie. I've listened to his '70s album and a little bit of his recent stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, the You Think You Really Know Me album, which is
yeah,
like, my gosh, that's probably my favorite record ever. I
yeah.
think there's an interview where I did in the San Diego paper where I pretty much just like gush over how much I love that album for a long time. But that record specifically was always been really influential to me. And the character of the Milkman is kind of a version of Gary. I think his music is kind of it's sympathetic and it's loving, but there is a sense of like not understanding how to relate to people, and he's lost and he's kind of like confused, and a lot of that definitely kind of was in the Milkman character. I think I was kind of letting it just be an alternate universe version of Gary Wilson a little bit. But yeah, I also is intentional because it's like I just think that is the human condition, and I think the milkman. I want you to have your own version of what he represents. It's like good or evil. I mean, I know what I think, but I was purposely writing it in a way that it's kind of up to you to kind of feel about who he is.
Hmm. Well, it's definitely like especially opening with the industrial farming stuff, and it's like milk, and the milk
Mhm.
becomes itself this kind of contradictory thing. And it's and then and as well like his okay, let's talk about more about Gary Wilson himself then. So, people at home who don't know, as Kay said, he musician. You think you really know me from 1976, I think, right?
So,
Really sick album. I agree with you. How how did you find him to work with him, and what was your experience working with him and turning the Milkman into reality? Oh no, something froze.
well, he kind of like he went. Sorry, what'd you say?
You
Wait, sorry,
froze
did you
for
say something?
like
Oh, sorry, I think the internet cut out for a second.
yeah, you froze for like 15 seconds.
Oh yeah, I think okay. Yes, I was talking about Gary Wilson. Um, yeah, I used to book house shows here in Los Angeles, and I got I was just like a big fan of Gary anyway, and he wasn't that hard to track down. He's pretty accessible online. And I was booking house shows here in Highland Park, and one night I was like, I'm just gonna try to get Gary. So I asked him, and he drives from San Diego to our backyard in Los Angeles and plays an amazing backyard show. Um, and then we kind of became friends after that, and he scored a short film I did called Herbert, which shows up on the Blu-ray of Absence of Milk. Um, and even that to me at that point, I was like, wow, like he's like one of my favorite musicians ever, and he scored this short film I did, and even that was like enough for me to be like, check that off, you know. I never thought I would go back and work with him, but then I'm thinking about Gary a lot, and when I was writing this film, it's just like this is just Gary, so I got to ask him. I don't think I would have made the film if he said no, like he wouldn't do it, honestly, because I don't there's no I don't think there's anyone else that would represent that character.
It's as soon as you see him, it makes sense. He's like the long hair, the vibe, just his face. It's just like I understand this character is very striking immediately. Um,
Yeah,
and
he's an
so
incredible man, though.
he's incredible.
Like
But
just
like
in terms of just in terms of who he is as a person, he's just such a sweetheart and such an artist. Um, yeah, he's great.
you and your I think in your films generally music is really important. It seems to me like a lot you obviously King Baby is basically a musical. There are musical sequences in Absence of Milk. There's a lot of music in sometimes I think we all go up in smoke. The stuff that's like more ambient, kind of droney stuff, and there's like more traditional kind of poppy tunes. What can you just talk about your approach to music and how you're thinking through it? Oh, also, obviously, I didn't say this, but like King Baby stars a musician, superstar, and star, and
Yeah.
and you get to see a whole song from him in the movie. So yeah, can you just talk about your approach to music and what you're thinking through there? What's if you said you used to book house shows? Any more talk about that?
Yeah, well, I think I was like, as a little kid, I was like a massive fan of movies as a little kid. But then I kind of like I totally just fell in love with music when I was a teenager. And I don't think I realized it completely at the time, but I think the most the biggest form of imagination for me was always just like putting on a record and getting lost in that record, and then I would think of images from the records and all the time, and I'm still like that. And there's nothing more inspiring to me when I'm thinking of ideas than to put a record on. Um, and I get really fascinated with the person who made the record and the isolation that they kind of have when they're making it, and that stuff. And I guess yeah, Superstar acts in King Baby. He's kind of the central figure of the movie, and I like this idea of having musicians act in movies. I thought maybe they could bring something else that was kind of like more kind of maybe a little more mysterious. But also I do just think, I mean, at the end of the day, I just love music so much. It's such an ultimate form of expression, especially these people who are just like doing it on their own. And like Gary plays every instrument, Superstar produces all the songs. Um, there's a black metal artist who's going to be in my next film that I'm super excited about. He does all of I'm not going to reveal who it is yet, but he does all of the music himself, and he's also a huge influence for sure.
Do you and Okay, when you're so it sounds like a lot of like you're thinking is like with Gary Wilson in particular, like it's like the casting is like so much of the job here. Of like your these
Yeah.
characters are built kind of around these artistic personas. What is
Yeah.
the process with actors? Are you directing much on set? I would say this in general. I think the performances in your movies are like pitched so right. Like it's like
Oh,
none no
wow.
one seems too big or too small. You know, they all seem like they're just like saying speaking truth through them. You know?
Oh, yeah, thank you. And I think that's probably because everyone in my movies are close friends of mine, give or take. And they're pretty much casted as them as exaggerated versions of themselves.
And are you on set though? Are you going like here you're their exaggerated version of themselves? Are you giving them like motivation for their own selves on screen? Are you ever
Oh,
like
of course.
line differently? You know?
Yeah, of course. I think most of that though happens days before we shoot. I spend a lot of time with each person, if they're more in a leading role. Um, just like, going to dinners or like just talking a long time on the phone about what I'm thinking about the character and things like that. And if they have questions and kind of like, telling them things about the character that you might not know or see on screen. Especially Hannah in Absence of Milk. Like we spent like she plays Maria. We spent like 2 years on the phone talking about the character. It was like a long time. And then one day I was like, one day we're gonna shoot it, one day, and then asking me questions about who Maria is and stuff like that. And Maria was actually based off someone I knew in real life, and I would tell Hannah all about the real Maria and all these things. So yeah, I mean, it's hard sometimes on set. Like, of course, I'm directing, but it's also it's so low budget that most of the time I'm on locations. Either I'm stealing the location or I'm on a very, very tight timer to get all the shots we need. Um, and I kind of know exactly what I want when I get there because I have to. And I don't, and I wish I didn't have to work this way, but I don't have a lot of air to take time and 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 parse things out. It's like boom, boom, kind of because like each hour that passes, especially when renting out a location, is an extra like whatever amount of money.
Mhm.
So that's why I spend a lot of time before we shoot talking with actors.
So I'm curious about your process more generally now. So we talked about like these movies are taking a long time to make, just based on like when you're getting the money, when you have everything together, everyone's ready. How much of like are you really heavy in the script zone? Are you storyboarding stuff? I love what you're talking about. Just like you're talking to the actors a lot, just having conversations about it. But yeah, tell me more about your process. Maybe we can stick it to the absence of milk, the mouths of the lost to contain it a bit. But like, what was your process here from the start?
Well, I mean, they're all completely different. Like, I'll just say King Baby, for example, which I'm glad you're talking about because I don't think a lot of people have seen that movie.
Good
But
movie. Watch it, people. It's really good. It's on YouTube.
thanks. Yeah, I think the reason a lot of people didn't watch it because like it got put out right before COVID hit, and then my heart kind of fell out of it, and I couldn't screen it anywhere, and I just started working on Absence. But one day, I think I'm going to work on a remaster, and we'll have a bigger release of it later. But that film was kind of a stream of conscious. I was making it up as I went along. And then Absence was complete opposite, where it was pretty much from the beginning to end was the script I wrote. And I wrote the script extremely quick, like in a night. Like the whole film came to me in a night, pretty much. And there wasn't a lot of like new things that I was going to add to it. I could see the whole film from beginning to end. And I'm pretty astonished at myself when I've watched the film that I'm like, this was what I saw in my head. Um, so it just matters. I think I like that way of working now. I'm not really interested in the stream conscious I was doing when I made King Baby. I was really young when I made that movie, and I didn't really know what I was doing. But yeah, I don't want to work that way anymore. I like. I mean, even my next film is probably the most traditional thing. My next feature film is probably the most traditional thing I've ever done. It's like a real big script, and I want to do it like it's just easier for everyone if we know exactly what we're doing when we get to set.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. Okay, but you talk about okay, but on the other hand, you are talking King Gaby, great movie, I must say. So both processes, or at least from the viewer perspective, do work. King Gaby, when you say you're making up as you go along, are you saying that like, do you have like an outline in mind, or is it like, okay, here's an idea for a scene, let's shoot it. Okay, a few weeks later, here's an idea for a shoot scene, let's shoot it.
Pretty much.
Hell yeah,
Yeah,
hell yeah.
it was like just like I think the process was like I mean it was a rough retelling of like the New Testament, but I think for the most part, if I remember all my notes in my studio, I would just like have moments in the New Testament that I'd be like, maybe I could shoot that. And then I was like, I can't figure out how to do that one, cross it out. Maybe I can do this. And then that's just kind of how it was made. And then like, I shot that puppet scene where all the ventriloquist dummies are talking and I was like, how is this going to fit in? And then, the stream conscious I was like, oh, like I kind of looped it in with the real life versions of them still kind of communicating. And yeah, I don't know. Like that was not like, that was something that came like a year out. I don't know. And then you get to the point where you're kind of trying to piece everything together. You're like, what is this jumble of things I just made? And then you're trying to piece it together. That was that film. I don't want to work like that anymore. But yeah.
So with Milk, was that like in the edit? Is it like you're basically just putting together the footage? You like, is there are you changing much in the edit, or is it still sticking to basically what
The
you want?
edit was like unbelievably fast because I knew exactly what it was.
That's so,
Yeah.
dude. I'll tell you what. I'm working on a movie that I'm working on for like 10 years, and it's so. What you're saying sounds so envious to me. I'm like, oh, I wish, I wish.
Oh, are you doing kind of the stream of conscious thing or?
Kind in the way of the process is sort of that. Like I have a script, and I have all most of the audio is done. Sorry, I should clarify. It's with puppets, so there's puppets.
Oh, cool.
And
Yeah.
so
I
I
love
have like
them.
an audio drama, and then I have some other. A lot of the footage shot on the outside of it, but in terms of how I've been shooting the puppets, is that like I look at my shot list and I go, I hate that, and then I spend a few days kind of rethinking the next scene, and then I go and I do it, and then there's a lot of improvisation slash a lot of kind of what you're talking about, where I was like, all right, so I wrote in the script that they got to do this, and I'm like, do I know how to do that? Can I figure that out?
Right.
And then I just kind of improv it, and then I get to the edit, and it changes a lot, and then I restart the process over again. So that's been going on for like a year and a half now. But so the idea of just like you can get into the edit, and it's just like that's not
Yeah.
great.
Well, what I can say about what you were just talking about, and that was kind of like how with King Baby was like it was creatively fulfilling the whole time.
Hmm.
I will say for Absence, it was this moment when I think I wrote it in 2020, and it was this moment that I wrote it, and I wrote the whole thing to get it out of my soul. But by the time we wrapped shooting, I felt like such a different person than the person who wrote that, and I was just trying to honor that guy who wrote it, but I didn't feel like that guy anymore. So I don't know if it was creative fulfilling at the end. It was just like I need these images need to happen, kind of. So
That's
I don't know.
that's
It matter.
that's really fascinating. We talked about there of like honoring the person you were when you wrote it. That's like
That was with that film, yeah.
yeah, because I really feel like that with the project I'm working on, which is like because I wrote the original draft of the script like a long time ago, and it's changed, but there's still that like core of the script is me when I was like 20.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah,
don't know if I want to honor that guy. So it's kind of been a weird struggle to like kind of figure out
yeah.
my relationship with the past version of me there.
Oh, yeah, I mean, maybe he's not worth honoring. I don't know.
Exactly. Well, at the time, I was much unhappier when I wrote the script. So
Yeah.
it's difficult sometimes. And okay, so you're talking about your kind of process as like, or at least not process. You're talking about this like you're just kind of putting your soul onto the page. Like, do you have with Milk? I don't want to get into like I don't want you to explain the movie, right? But I am curious to know if let's say you had like a map of the symbology in it in your head, or is it like very associative and just based on the heart?
Um, it was associative and based on the heart when I wrote it. However, it was hard not to be like, wow, like it's this thing. It was the intuition. I was like, I know why this is all connecting, and I just feel it. And I think that's what so excited me about Absence of Milk was like all these connections felt so effortlessly real to me. And of course, like after everything's been said and done, there's a way that I can really think about how they connect.
Mhm.
Um, but it's not important for me to say that. It's important for anyone who watches it to maybe feel those connections because it's everyone else's film now. It's not mine.
Mhm.
But yeah, I love hearing what people think about it, but I'm not ever going to be like that's right or wrong or anything like
Mhm.
that.
No
It's all good.
prescription. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Okay, I want to let's move from let's move to a bit of your images because I really think that like the way your movies look and the kind of things you're attracted to imagistically, I find really really fascinating. One, your movies are full of great masks. We got plastic masks, we got like cloth paper bag masks, we got just paper masks in general. First of all, what makes a good mask for you? Um,
Well, I love a mask. I love the way It gives you a second chance to be something new. I love that you can use a mask to express yourself in a way that you're giving agency to how you look. Um, and I like the way masks make me feel.
Mhm. You were you big you sorry in sometimes think we all go up in smoke opens with a lot of Halloween stuff. Were you like a big Halloween kid?
Oh, I still am. I love Halloween. Yeah.
Mhm. It's not really a thing in
um,
Australia as much. It bums me out. Like they do Halloween stuff, but it's not the same as
I
the
bet.
American thing.
Yeah. Every time I travel, it's like so fun. I was in Spain last year and they had this like really niche Halloween store. It was very like Americanized. Like, this is what America Halloween is. And it was like so fun. I loved being in it, but I was like, wow, this is weird because I was there in October, but it's like, yeah, they don't really care about it much anywhere else. But I love it, just, it's incredible. I love the imagery. Well, and I should say that sometimes I think We Go Up in Smoke is actually part one of a three-part holiday shot on video trilogy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that's the Halloween episode, and right now we're working on the Christmas episode. I love holidays.
You look hard. What's wait, so can I ask what the third one is?
Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day. Okay.
Is
Okay.
that a thing in Australia? Do they
Yeah,
care about
Valentine's Day
Valentine's?
is in Australia. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
cool. They
Um,
care about Christmas, right?
they care about Christmas. Yeah, we care about Christmas. And like there is Halloween stuff, but it's like it's more of an adult thing, I feel like. Like I feel like there is like some Halloweens, but it's you don't see like you'll go to the suburbs and there'll be like one every five houses will have all the Halloween shit on it, versus like, because I grew up in Tennessee and I feel like during
Yeah,
Halloween, you get to the suburbs and it would just be everyone was Halloween colored and there'd be like hundreds of kids running around. And I don't really see that in over here.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, it definitely feels like there's like Australians are like when they do celebrate it, it's like we're doing American Halloween, it's American. Um,
I mean, but like with what I was saying about masks, it's like Halloween, just like it's incredible. Like you get to just be someone else for a day, and I think that was kind of the center focus of that film was like, they, she could escape into watching the Red Shoes and dressing up for Halloween
mhm,
um and there's all these like things. It's like what's a like who's in a costume and who's not and what's real and like
right.
who's what I mean. I
Mhm.
love the way that Halloween could make that happen.
Yeah, there's the beautiful bit in that movie. Well, it's horrible, but it's like when she's dancing with the guy in the Grim Reaper costume, and it's clearly she's like,
Yeah,
we're both in costumes, and then he's not right at the end, or
yeah,
he
yeah.
is, but he's also
Right, there's a difference between them.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. And yeah, and I think that really does. I found that moment really powerful for exactly the reason talking about. Of like before that, you have the kids and they're outside her house and they have the masks on, and it feels like the masks are almost like a safety thing for them as well. Of like we're kind of able to talk about the spookiness of this place while also having this kind of shield on, and then she's kind of confronted with this thing.
and then her son, who's in the bandages, it's like he's saying, I don't want to be the invisible man anymore because he's not in a costume. This is him. This is like, and it's like she likes Halloween because that day she gets to pretend he's like in a costume and not kind of face this reality of like a car incident.
Mhm, mhm. Um, when you were a kid, we did Halloween. Were you ever a trickster? Did you ever do any pranks in addition to getting the treats?
I mean, it's like trick or treat. I think everyone is so soft the fact that you go to every house and you say trick or treat and everyone is a treat. Like, I mean, hopefully one day when I have my big millionaire mansion, because from that I make from my movies, I'll be able, and when kids are trick or treating, I will be able to do treat, and I'll squirt like those flowers that squirt water or something.
Yeah,
I'll trick them.
I feel like the
I
most.
wasn't actually. I did play a lot of tricks when I was a kid, for sure. I mean, there's one I'm not too proud of, for sure. But I remember with a couple of friends, we would like go to houses during trick or treating, and I'd go to a house and we'd pretend that we were like kind of mentally challenged and get a lot more candy at the door because they thought we were like. Now I look back on that, it's pretty tasteless.
You're allowed to have been tasteless when you were a kid. That's a classic kid. That's really funny. I did a bit of
Yeah,
like my last year of Halloween. Like I was like, I've never done any pranking, and I was like, so I asked my
yeah.
parents if they could go out to help me out. So I went out TPing and putting
Your,
shaving cream in people's driveways.
your
Uh,
parents helped you prank.
yeah, they were like, I guess that's fine. And then they just like they bought me a shaving cream that totally. And I remember I did it in like neighborhood with my a couple buddies of mine, and then uh we all did it, and then they got in trouble, and didn't tell me they got in trouble that they had to clean all these houses, but they didn't tell me. And so I found out like afterwards they were furious at me.
And they probably hated you.
They hated me. And like I think it genuinely ended the friendship. But from my perspective, I did not know they were in trouble. So I was just like, what a fun night of tricking.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Um, okay. Okay. So more stuff about the images. Okay. So you talk about the mask as well, and there's another thing in movies that I really love, which is your chroma key sequences. I think there's a lot in King Baby, and there's a bit in Milk, The Mouse of Lost. The amazing, maybe my favorite bit of Milk, which is the person with bags of milk taped to their chest, and they're again a bandaged face, and then this kind of
Mhm.
painting is screeching behind them. Can you
That's
just
my
talk?
blood.
That's
Yeah.
that's your blood?
Yeah, that's 16 millimeter that's playing. And it's blood and milk. Kind of like how Stan Brakhage would work, he would paint on film. That's exactly what's happening. I wish I have it somewhere, but I'm gonna have to dig through my desk. But I could actually show you the
So are
film.
you like painting your blood onto the film strip?
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
How did you
Yeah.
source the blood? Can I ask how are you pulling the blood out of you?
Oh, you just prick it. I mean, you can prick it enough and bleed. I liked the idea of pure expressionism. It's just like giving your body.
Mhm.
I liked that. It was cool. I loved the whole like artists bleed for their work, and I
Yeah.
don't know. Like let's do it, you know. I mean, obviously I'm not like slitting my throat and throwing it on the canvas, but it's like, I just like that idea. And it actually, the real process, it wasn't exactly sticking, so I'd have to mix it with ink just to make it stick on the film more.
Mhm.
I don't know the science behind why it wasn't, but blood was not so much sticking. But if I mix it with ink, it would. Same thing with the milk. The milk would chip off, and I would have to. Maybe I shouldn't be saying all this, but it's not 100% just my blood and milk. I had to mix it in ways to make it actually stay on the film. But yeah, and then you digitize it. You put it in a projector, and you can digitize it, and then you can work with it. And it's just kind of these dancing paintings that I loved.
Mhm. It looks so sick, and so does just like the chroma key in general. Because I feel like a lot of filmmakers are afraid to use like the green screen to like get expressionistic, like you're doing, right? Like, and you're also
Yeah.
afraid of having a little bit of the shadows on it at all. Like, I just find it like very exciting when your green screens show up. Like, do you have any other thoughts on like just using chroma keys in general? I'm like deep in the chroma key zone for my stuff right now, so that's why I'm thinking.
Well, it's kind of amazing because like when I made King Baby, it was like I think King Baby was only like a $500 budget that I got from like I hit my head at Raging Waters at a water park, and they paid me out $500 to keep quiet,
So
and I used that.
really?
Yeah, yeah, and
I'm sorry, I'm laughing. I'm happy for you. The
I
movie
mean,
got
it's
made.
fine. I mean, I don't know if you'd be able to see the scar so much in the video, but yeah, that's how I funded King Baby. They gave me $500. I'm like, well, I could like pay rent or like even some of my rent with this, or I could, make a movie. And that's literally what happened. But it was like I had a white studio. I was an undergrad when I was making King Baby, and I had just like a white studio and just complete access to the white studio to do what I wanted, and I wanted to make a movie. So that's kind of how the chroma key stuff started. I was like, my studio became this green screen room, and then I would do tests with it, and I started liking how it looked, and I liked how it could transport you to different worlds, and yeah, again, it was like pure expression to me.
I gotta say, your Chroma King very influential on my own work. If
Oh,
I remember watching. I watched Milk first, but I think the first clicked. It really clicked when I was watching King Baby, and I've taken that with me. So thank you.
oh, thanks. Yeah, it's such a bummer when I was shooting. Sometimes I think we all go up in smoke. There was a scene that was supposed to be kind of chroma key, but what I realized when I was shooting it on video, the quality is so low on the camera that they could, and I was afraid that might happen, so I did two takes without it, and just in case that would happen. And yeah, and it's true. It was like the editing softwares can't sense the green screen because it's so dull on video.
Mhm.
So I might take a break at the chroma keys when I finish up these shot on video movies, but yeah, you better believe it's coming back for sure.
What was the sequence that was supposed to be Chroma Key?
The so when she's watching Red Shoes on the TV,
Hmm.
I in the that little TV, like I cut a green screen around the screen, and I got a shot over her shoulder, so it looked like it was actually on the TV.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, but and then I did an angle that was behind it, and I was working a lot on trying to get it on the TV, and it wouldn't. It was too dark and dull in that room to read it on video.
Hmm.
So it's cool, but
Otherwise, do you like working on video? How do you feel about that tech?
oh, I've totally fallen in love with it. Like, like it's totally liberated me in a way, because in between Absence of Milk and To Euthanize, or yeah, well, my next film is called To Euthanize a Still Fluttering Spirit. That's the next feature film,
Hell
and
yeah,
I've been
man. What a title.
okay, and I've been trying. I was trying to get it off the ground for so long, and I still am, and it'll happen. But I was like, I don't want to take this much of a gap in between making films. And there's a place um, called Whammy Analog here in Los Angeles that does this thing called Shot on Video September. And they only played Shot on Video films every day there. And I kind of became like obsessed and went to all of them. And it totally opened up a whole world to me. And this Shot on Video world is incredible. Like it's totally its own universe. And there's like, like Charles Pinon, the plumber that's in Sometimes I Think We All Go Up and Smoke. He's an incredible artist in that world. He made this film called Red Spirit Lake. That's one of my favorite films ever.
So good.
And I loved the way that video was like the way that it's for me, the way that it's playing with like family home videos, and the fact that like this, like the way that that's why another part of the holiday trilogy is like during holidays we film it with like video. And at least like when if you're a 90s baby or something, and like and there's like that melancholy looking back, but I also love the liberation that it gives, and the feeling that I get. And I was really scared putting out Sometimes I Think We All Go Up and Smoke, because I thought everyone was going to think like I went crazy. Like they're like, why would you be shooting on so lo-fi, and the microphone of the camera doesn't even work. But I don't know, totally liberated me.
Mhm. It's I think it totally works in that movie. Yeah, and I think I love what you said about this, like kind of flashing back to 90s home video stuff. Oh, do you and you were saying okay, so you mentioned Charles Pinion. Are there any others like shot on video films or filmmakers that were really speaking to you when you went through that big SOV fever?
This director named Ken Camp.
Ken
He
Camp.
directed Ken Camp. He's incredible. He came to the premiere also of To Sometimes I Think We Still Go and Smoke, and I was so starstruck. I was like, oh my gosh. And because I was like, you don't know, like I was watching your films, and that's like why I was thinking about this. But he uses this guy in this film called Mantra, called Glenn Meadmore. He's this really tall guy, and he ended up playing the Grim Reaper. And Sometimes I Think we all go up all in smoke. He's also an incredible musician. Glenn Meadmore, he's like does cowpunk music, but he was also in all of Ken Camp's movies. So I loved that. Um, yeah, yeah, he was a big influential person for sure.
And so, yeah,
Yeah,
what's
yeah,
the,
yeah.
wait, so is can you recommend? Because I've heard of him, I don't, but I've never seen one of Ken Camp's movies. So can you recommend one to go for?
Oh, the one which the one I would recommend is called a film called Mantra. I
Mantra.
think it's hard to find now because I went to the premiere
Hmm.
of it because they hadn't played it in years. I think it was only screened once and then it wasn't played again, and then they like rescreened it at Whammy, and I went to that, and it was a big deal. All the stars were there. That's why I was where I met Glenn, and I asked him to be in my movie. That I think it's in the works of getting a bigger release right now, and I think that was kind of a test. So I don't know if it's. I think it might actually be impossible to find right now, but look out for it because I'm pretty sure it's about to get like a distribution on Blu-ray or something.
I feel like Liz Purcell of Muscle Distribution was
Yes.
talking to
Yep.
me.
Liz is yes. Yeah, yeah. Liz is the one putting it out.
Okay, there we go.
I
Okay, so
just didn't know if I was. I just didn't know if I was allowed to say that.
there you go. Yeah, okay, so there we go. So that's where I heard. That's where I heard it from. Okay, so okay, maybe the issue is that I need to email Liz and be like, send me a copy, and I'll see if we can screen
Oh,
it.
she will. She will. If you know, yeah, just
Yeah.
ask her. You have to see. I was blown away. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time.
Okay. Actually, you mind if I just I gotta add this to my I actually have to talk to where Liz is probably gonna come out for the I should probably cut this from the thing. Anyway, I got Ken Camp Mantra Ask
Mm-hmm.
Away. Okay, there we go. Thank you. Okay. Have you ever seen any just on Sean View stuff? Have you ever seen any of Chester Novel Turner's movies? Black Devil
Oh
Doll.
maybe Kai. Maybe I think
Oh my
maybe
God,
you're
we know.
forgetting.
Of course, you know. Of course, yes, I remember now. Oh my God, yeah.
I became obsessed with Chester, and yeah, and for reference, if anyone's watching, I tried to screen Black Devil Doll. I tried to have a screening. I tried to even get Chester to come out here in LA and do a Q&A. And I think you had done one. So I went to Kai because someone told me that you knew how to get in contact with him. So I went to you, and I did make contact, but it was with his nurse, and sadly his health isn't the best. So I wasn't able to do that. Yeah, but yeah, that was through you.
Yeah, that was I say when I got in contact with him because I forgot I had interviewed him. Yeah, it was I got in contact through him through his daughter through her Facebook, and she was it was very surreal to talk to him. He was
Well, you actually got to talk to him. They like didn't really like let me talk to him.
I only talked to him. Yeah, I got
They were like,
him.
he's like, he gives us your blessing, or he's like, he gives us his blessing, and I'm like, okay, cool.
That's the bar. That's when I was talking to him.
Yeah.
He was saying he was working on Tales from the Quaded Zone too. So I'm bummed out.
What year did you talk to him?
It was probably like 2020. It was
Oh, dang.
it was
Yeah.
it was like peak pandemic because it was when we were in lockdowns because we did it for like some we did some streams basically. We did like a bunch of streams and that's how we got and a lot of people were free because they were like I'm
Yeah.
inside or whatever. So um yeah. But he was definitely he said he was actively working on it and it seemed like he had filmed at least a significant part of it. So it's a shame. It's just,
Odd.
yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, I don't know. Hopefully, it's around and we get to see it. But yeah, I don't know if I'm the one breaking that news or whatever. But I guess he's very sick right now.
Well, amazing filmmaker. Yeah, I love like Devil Doll. I might like Tales from the Quadid Zone more. I feel like I've seen that one a
Yeah,
few more times. Yeah.
I love Tales from the Quadra. I love the anthology idea of it, and I think that was really influential to this anthology I'm working on too. So there's like that film Black Sabbath. It was a great anthology film. Tales of Terror with Karen Black was a great anthology film. I like the idea that I like these like I don't know because they especially when you're working low budget and micro cinema, it's like it lets you just kind of have an idea and then I don't have to like disappear for a long time and I can put them out in parts and then they'll get released together, but they still exist as their own thing. You know, that was really exciting to me.
Mm, mm. No, I feel that way really with like Quadid Zone, right? Where it both feels like you could easily put each of these pieces out as a weird short film, but
Yes.
together it's like this cumulative power, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to pull off.
Um, so and so wait, so are you saying that the sometimes I think we go up and smoke that trilogy is going to be eventually released as one
Yes.
getting together? Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Probably just something called the Holiday Anthology or the Holiday Specials.
The holiday
Yeah.
special, holiday anthology.
Because each one will have its own title, so I don't need that title to be another thing.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, there'll be like chapter titles. Yeah, cool. That's rad.
Yeah.
That's rad.
Yeah. Yeah.
So okay, so another question here about just kind of like image making in general. Like, do you have like, are you someone who's like really like in the theory zone of like when you're thinking of like here's are the specific images and kind of compositions I want to capture, or are you going out and just you have the subjects and you're on the fly? I'm kind of creating these binaries, but you know, there's obviously in between.
Like theory zone. Like, like I think about theory.
Like, do you think about theory in terms of like when you're thinking of like what are the images you're gonna make? You know, like what are you gonna shoot? How is it all gonna tie together? Because we talked about how King Baby much like very much like putting this together piecemeal, instinctual, and then you're much more planned now. But is that also the planning? Does that apply to like the cinematography, basically?
Um, yes. I mean, well, each project is different. Um, yeah, I mean, yeah, I know exactly what I'm going to shoot before I shoot it. Is that your question? Kind of.
Yeah, basically.
I,
Yeah, are you? Do you know everything you're ready to shoot it? But and also, do you have like what is the secondary question I'm asking? The secondary question I'm asking is like, do you know what you're going to shoot before you're going to shoot it? But are you? Is there like a schematic to that? Is there like you're going, okay, this is the kind of I'm trying to angle for this kind of composition where like this body is really strong in the frame and it's like overwhelming this and that has this thing going on that has this connotation or yeah, that's what I'm asking you.
each project is different. For Absence, everything you described, yes.
Mhm.
Uh, I almost like sometimes I think we all go up and smoke. I mean, they're all like completely different things, and like sometimes I think we all go and smoke. I like there's like this little viewfinder on the camera, and I was like almost like I like this idea of like not know. I didn't know how it was gonna look.
Mhm.
This video artist from LA, she's a friend of mine, Sam Spicoli. She was the camera operator on. She made a great film called Midnight Prowlers, but she was the camera operator on. Sometimes I think we go up and smoke, and I didn't have a monitor, and I liked it was scary. It was like exhilarating. It was like I didn't know what the footage was going to look like until I digitized the tape. Um, so, but like Absence, I had a monitor and I was like able to be like, I need, you know, all the frames in that movie are very intentional, and I thought of them as like paintings, kind of.
Cool. Cool. Because yeah, it was because I was definitely I was also feeling this is one of the reasons I wanted to ask because I was watching these movies in a row and I was thinking like there's there's a lot of shared like kind of subject, I guess, in certain ways, but it does feel like yes, sometimes Think We Go With Smoke is a very different like looking movie than in the Milk and the Mouths of Lost. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Um,
I wanted to do something that felt different because I think To Euthanize a Still Fluttering Spirit in my brain is like the brother film to Absence of Milk. They kind of are yin and yang to each other, but in between them, I wanted to try to pull something else off for sure.
And okay, so and also it's still in this kind of zone. Like all three of the movies, I do think have this really strong sense of like these interior spaces, like these domains of these characters, these houses. I really, in particular, I think the Milkman's domain is just such an evocative space. You got the mannequin next to you from the
Yeah,
Milkman's
it's
domain.
yeah,
And
right.
and downstairs, you have that amazing like that boob that is like pumping milk into the bowl, and you have all the milk cartons. Like it just feels like this space. There's so much mystery in it, and yet it also feels very lived in. And similarly, with sometimes I think all grow up in smoke. The main character's house, like it feels very desolate, but also an actual place that people exist in. So, okay, can you talk about like building these spaces, finding these spaces? Like, what's your process when you're thinking through of how to set dress them?
I guess my process is it's extreme. I don't want to settle for because it's like when you think about interior spaces, it's almost like it is the frame, and I don't want to settle for a place that's not going to give you each emotion in each frame on that level. So like it needs to be something. And when I am in those spaces, I'm like, this is incredible. When I'm set working on them or doing adding things to them or whatever, it's like I I I can't. I just don't settle. Like I look for a lot of places to kind of pull off what I'm thinking. They're also real. These places are real.
Mhm.
Like they are lived in because they are lived in. They're real people's houses. They're not sets. Um, that's not an intentional thing. My next film I'm shooting on a set for the first time, but it's like what you're seeing is real. Like sometimes I think We All Go Up in Smoke. Like that house is a house that two people in bed lit a cigarette and died in, and the house went on fire. So what you're seeing is real,
Mhm.
like all the burn marks on on the walls and the bathroom and all of that. It's a real it's a burned down house. It's not a set. Yeah.
And so, did you
Uh,
like did you find the house? Were like scouting around, or was it a friend's pat like a how did you find this location?
Um, well, I do think a lot. I do look for sometimes I'll like just kind of like I'm looking for locations all the time. And then a lot of the times if I have a perfect location, I love it. Sometimes I'll write around the location.
Mhm.
Um, so that helps a lot. I think that's why they feel so important because sometimes I've like written for them. I also like interior spaces a lot because it's almost like where your psyche is captured. It's like almost being suffocated in there for that character. I mean, I this even like my apartment, it's like all these like, it's like this feels like my interior space. I have like dolls and everywhere. I'm just like this is like kind of you know what I mean? It's just kind of like this is it's my zone, and these are these character zones, and um, yeah, I don't know, you're trapped in them, or
Mhm. No,
you
yeah,
can just
definitely.
walk
Yeah, no, I definitely. And also, I feel like it's like I have to feel like my mind has expanded to fill the space of my apartment, right? And sometimes when I'm having a bad time, I got to get out of that space because I'm just like surrounded by myself.
Oh yeah, I go on so much walks. That's all I do.
Oh, yeah,
You'll just catch
dude,
me walking.
love a good walk. I love a
That's
good walk.
really all I do.
It's like, do you agree? I feel like when I walk, it's like that's like thinking. It's like walking becomes thinking.
Oh, absolutely. All my films I think about while walking. They've all popped into my head on walks. I think I wrote all of Teeth and As a Still Fluttering Spirit on a walk.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. In my head, and then I go and type
Beautiful.
it out later. But
Yes.
like, yeah, all images just fly through my head when I'm walking. I think there's a science behind that. I think it's getting your brain to work.
Yeah. Do you know Matt Farley? Are you familiar with his work? Because he's also a big walker.
Matt Farley? No, I don't think so.
Oh, big. Okay, Big Wreck. Matt Farley, Charles Roxburgh. What's the one I recommend? They've made a bunch of movies. They're all just like with their friends and family up in northeastern United States. Matt Farley himself, he has like 30,000 songs on Spotify. That's how he makes his living. Uh, so he's got songs that are like if you look up your name on Spotify, I bet Case, I'm not sure her last name, but the Billy names, Timothy Chalamet, blah blah blah. birthday songs, poop songs, songs about food, songs about the Mothman, stuff that's more serious. But like that's how he makes. He has enough streams that he makes enough money for that, and then he and
Oh, that's
his collaborator make
insane.
movies.
So
Yeah.
he just like made the net so big that someone will stream it.
Exactly, exactly. And so he says a lot of what he makes money from is like kids being like, Alexa, play poop, and then you get the
Yeah,
poop song. So he and
jeez.
his movies, him and Charles' movies are like they're wonderful. They're really good. I really recommend them. Some of them are
Yeah.
like horror movies, or like they're all comedies to a certain extent. Some of them are more serious, some of them are less serious. But like a lot of the maybe the one that I recommend to start with, just because it kind of gives you a sense of it'll kind of give you everything about Matt Farley, is a movie called Local Legends. Uh, and he in that movie he talks a lot about how much he goes for walks and how long he just long walks part of his day. And he also puts his real phone number on screen in that movie, so you can watch him taking a walk and then call him. And he'll talk.
Cool.
Yeah.
I've definitely put my real phone number in pieces of work. I had an installation one time where my real number was there and you could call the number in the gallery no matter where I was. And if people were in the gallery, they could hear the conversation echoing with the person. And I was like existing in the, yeah, it was cool. I like that interplay for sure.
Do you? Oh, so you mentioned this gal. You mentioned working in the gallery. I'm curious about this because I remember reading this as well. What have you done in the gallery space, and how is it? I mean, obviously you've probably done multiple projects, but like, do you find it's a very different thought process to like make an installation to then making a film outside of that space?
Um, no, I almost don't think it's because again, it's like even when we were talking about interiors, it's like I'm so obsessed with like being in an interior. That's why I love installation.
Mhm.
Um, I probably just tend to do work on films more than I do my installations simply because like, they can exist forever in this way. Um,
Mhm.
and installations are kind of like a week or two thing or I don't know. But I don't really it's funny. It's not a different thought process than my films.
Mhm.
I like the idea that you can even physically go in them and experience them.
Mhm. There is okay, so I mean, and this idea that kind of the installations kind of go away, that's kind of in its own way, that's kind of nice. I feel like it's kind of it's got its own qualities of fading.
Mhm.
Um, I saw years ago, I'm not really a VR guy, but I saw a
I've
VR
never done it.
film. You've never done
No, I've never even done it. I've never even put the headset on. I'm
it?
afraid.
It's fair enough. I'm with you, honestly. This was the only time I had a fun time doing it, and I don't think I've done it since. But there's a Tsai Ming Lang movie. Do you know Tsai Ming Lang? He's a Taiwanese filmmaker. He makes really like slow movies. You might think as well because he
Oh, is
loves.
he the guy who does like those long lectures in the movie? Like there'll be like a full-on lecture that's like in it.
I don't think so. He doesn't really. There's not much talking in his movies, I must say. Not a lot,
Okay.
but definitely a lot of like
Okay.
we found this building and now we're inside the building for a while. Um,
Cool.
but he did this VR movie called The Deserted, and it's just a bunch of shots of these kind of semi-abandoned spaces, like interior spaces, and you just look around them. And they put me on an office chair, and I just
Yeah.
spun around in circles. And at one point, the one that I remember the best was I was suddenly in an enormous bathtub, and I was
Ugh.
just I was like, this bathtub's huge. And it was, wow, I'm
Yeah.
in here. And I just and it was kind of a gross bathtub, and I was like, oh, this is what VR is good for, is me feeling like I'm really in the bathtub?
Sounds like a DMT trip or something.
Yeah, yeah, I feel like less exciting because it was very slow. But I've never done DMT, but I my understanding. Uh,
Scary.
have you done DMT? Maybe we shouldn't ask
No,
this.
I don't do drugs.
Okay.
I'm a good guy. I smoke cigars, a lot of cigars,
I was wondering if
but
that was a cigar. Yeah, okay.
that's my vice.
A cigar doesn't get you high at all. Does it not like does it you don't do you feel does because tobacco gets you a bit high, but does like a
Well,
cigar you're not supposed
yeah,
to
it's
inhale that.
tobacco. It
Well,
is
you don't
tobacco.
inhale a cigar, right? As I understand it, you
No,
don't
you don't inhale. Never inhale a cigar, but it's because it's so much. It's going into your gums and it's giving you a head rush.
so
Yeah.
it does give you a head rush as well. Okay. I've
Oh
only
yeah,
tried
it's the
cigar one
best.
time.
It is the best. I recommend it. And that talking about thinking that in terms of like I'm on walks with my cigars. The cigar is this is the magic right here. This is where all the ideas come from. I'm telling you.
Okay, that's interesting as well because there's all the cigars with the devils in Milk of the.
Yeah.
So there's a connection between because the devils are very menacing creatures in that movie, but now I've seen cigars and I'm like, there's some case in the devils. I'm sure there
Yeah,
is.
there is some me in the devils, and that's why they had to be killed.
That's why. Okay, all right.
I
Uh,
don't know if there is me in them actually, but maybe they're like maybe they're like my terror of my worse qualities in man. I don't know.
Hmm.
Uh,
Wait,
yeah.
okay, the devils are interesting as well because okay, the end near the end of the movie, right? One of the devils is like crucified on like a camper van,
Yeah.
and
Love that
that
shot.
that's a great shot. And also, I was watching it again, being like, there's a lot of contradictions here. Like, there's a lot of just like stuff I'm grappling with in the shot because that is not what I associate with like a demon's death, right? Uh,
Mhm.
can you talk about just a little bit about? So, I mean, you did just talk about a bit of them, but like they are like the kind of worst parts of man. But like, how do you reconcile that with this crucifixion at the end of the movie for one of them?
Well, the crucifixion was interesting because I liked thinking about like what the kids were doing to the demons, like kind of off screen.
Hmm.
And I was thinking about the crucifixion, I guess, and I was just thinking about, Jesus on the cross was like a humiliation ritual.
Hmm.
Um, and you know, it was not deemed for someone like Jesus, but someone like a demon who's hurting children. It was almost like, what's the most humiliating way you can go out was just being crucified in your underwear, just on your RV, just to be displayed. I don't know. It just felt humiliating.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. Humility, because I wouldn't often think of, I guess, is the Jesus on the cross as humiliation ritual, but absolutely, right? Um,
Yeah.
it does, and it would not, yeah. Okay, so that's really interesting. Okay, so I want to ask then furthermore, just about like your own, like we talked about it a little bit, but like your own kind of relationship with faith and religion. Like, do you is because you're all of your movies to a certain extent they're all grappling, although I've seen at least the features that I rewatched recently and the sometimes I'll go up in smoke, there's a lot of cross imagery, there's a lot of just like thinking about like the afterlife and God, um and it's not 100% straightforward. So yeah, I'm just curious as like how you're thinking about religion and kind of how you're thinking of that processing through your work.
Um, well, it's funny. I almost like didn't want to be pigeonholed as like a religious filmmaker in a way, and I was like that. That was another reason was the absence of milk was so important. I know there is images in there, but coming from King Baby, that was like a retelling of the New Testament. I was like, oh, maybe I should do something. But it's like the next feature to Ethan as a Still Fluttering Spirit is probably my most overtly religious work. And I think I'm just going back to my roots then, but like I think like because I don't know, I was just raised Christian, and it's just pretty much as simple as like it's probably just like how I learned to relate to the world. Was through was through the Bible, and like I went to Catholic schools up until I was a senior in high school, and I was taught by priests. Priests were a huge part of my life, and it's how I learned how to kind of digest the world. Yeah, I have a complicated, you know, relationship with faith, but who every Christian does.
Mhm.
That's what part of being a Christian is like feeling so much shame and love and fear, and it's just intense.
Mhm. I grew up in Tennessee, and my family was not very religious, but we were surrounded by religion, so it was like very intense.
New Orleans is a very Catholic city.
Sorry, can you say that again?
New Orleans is a very Catholic city too.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of they both need each other.
They both need each other. That's
Yeah.
that's a really great turn of phrase. So okay, kind of secondary question off of this, which is, do you believe in ghosts? Are you a because there's a lot of ghosts in your movies, metaphorically and not.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I'd probably like I no. I believe in the ghosts of our mistakes. I
Mhm.
believe in the ghosts that haunt us on a spiritual level. Um, I don't think I'm going to be in a house, and I don't think I'm much afraid of like an apparition walking around. I don't think that'll happen.
Mhm.
Um, but I think it happens to other people, and I think other people have their own experiences. Um, so I don't know. I guess yes and no.
No, I feel
Um,
you there. I really feel you there. Of like, I don't personally, I don't think like maybe from my brain is it possible? Maybe not. But if someone sees a ghost, they're going through something, and that's a ghost to me, right? That's like you're,
exactly. If someone tells me they saw a ghost, I have been in situations in Oregon one time. This guy shows me this like picture, and he's like, "I've seen ghosts." I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he shows me this picture. I was terrified. There was all these security camera pictures and these orbs like in his house. It brought shivers down my spine, and I've heard a lot of stories. I've never experienced something like that, but I, I I don't know. Maybe there is something to that. I just don't know. Like,
yeah,
yeah.
that, and even that the thing you're describing right there of like someone will tell you a story, and it so clearly was like a scary thing to them, and I will get those chills, right? It's like they're
It happened to them because they're saying it did. They're not trying to lie to me. I don't think they are.
yeah.
And but also going back, I just think we're so haunted as people. Like it's impossible to get through this life without being haunted.
Yo, yeah,
So
yeah. Well, I
just
mean, like,
by
what's the difference between like a ghost someone sees and like a really bad memory of someone they wronged, like coming to them in the night, you know? Like I feel like a certain extent they can both
there
shock.
is no difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's why cinema is the best because I love horror films too. It's like it it allows us to project those feelings we have into images.
hmm 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 There's also maybe something there of like, especially early cinema days where it was like connected to like illusions and like kind of connected to like spiritualism in a certain way, right? Well,
Well, it's
we're
like real magicians were making all the early films too.
exactly, right. And they're like, look at this
Uh,
amazing like ghost I'm showing you. Look at this like manifestation, this projection of the air, right? Yeah, it's like
uh,
it's all swirling
it's
around.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, but what we do is magic. It's like that is what filmmaking is. It is creating ghosts and illusions, and I don't know. I believe in it that way.
Mhm. Um, okay, we're kind of towards my last few questions here. So, okay, so I'm gonna in King Baby, we got there's the great song from Superstar and Star, where I forgot the actual name of the song, but the line of the chorus is "No more pain, no more sorrow, no more pain inside of me." Please, people
It's the
at home, go
greatest
listen
song,
to this
greatest
song.
song ever written.
So
I
good,
love
very
it.
very beautiful. And your films are filled with a lot of despair, but they're not hopeless, right? I think this is a really, and I find this tension very compelling in your work. So can you speak to
Ever.
the tension a bit of this despair and this hope on either side? If
I
you
just
agree
think
with
that's
me,
I
you just think
just
that's life.
yeah, I really do. I just think that that's just what life is. It's like you got to have hope.
hmm
I'm not really interested in like what a nihilist is like making.
hmm hmm
Like I don't know. That to me that's not art making. I don't know. I think it's like I love the process of art making in terms of like it helping us get through these things that we go through in life.
hmm
Um and I'm not to air out all my personal things in my life, but with all my films, they are what you're seeing is me airing out things that I'm going through in real life. And been making these films are extremely healing to me, and that's why I do it. Um, yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess that's my subconscious. It's hard to say, but it's like it's just my subconscious, but it is like I'm not really I need, I don't know, I'm not so interested in like I love a lot of Lars von Trier's techniques, but the way that like his films are so nihilistic sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes I'm not I don't want to ever I don't know. And if you do ever catch me ending things on like a note that's that's definite and nihilistic, it's like maybe I was really angry. I
hmm
don't know. I try not to though.
hmm
I try. My films are me really trying to get through things.
hmm Do you feel at the end of sometimes we all go, I think we all go up in smoke when um, she's on fire at the end of the movie, right? She's just the leg is left behind. Is that what do you like? How can you bring that into this conversation we're having? Like, how do you? Oh, spontaneous combustion. There we go. Yep, I was thinking about the Toby Hooper movie as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so okay, and so she's spontaneously combusting. Do you is a spontaneous combustion? Is that is I mean in the context of the movie, it kind of feels like Phoenix like to me a little bit, even though it's obviously like
Yeah.
horrible. Like yeah.
Mhm. Well, but it was almost like it's like the idea almost feels horrible, but it was like it was a sense of peace, I think, for her.
Hmm.
You know, I think she wasn't really, I think she was not like acknowledging what had happened in her life, and I think she was putting it away. And I think that spontaneous combustion scene is a sense of relief and accepting and non-painful. I don't think she was in pain when.
Well, you're talking about her not being in pain as well. I think that's interesting the way the way you shoot the scene, which is like a really kind of interesting
Shoot,
and
hold on.
kind of uncanny
Computer,
fire
hold on.
effect over her. Oh, you're kind of cutting out again.
Shoot.
No,
Wait, hold
you're
on.
back.
It'll. Wait,
You're
okay,
back.
you're there again.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, you're back. You're back. The last thing I said was I don't think she was in. The last thing I remember was saying I spontaneous combusted there, but I think the last thing I said was I didn't think she was in any pain.
Mhm.
And then you cut out.
Well, okay, then there's that interesting. You're saying you don't think she's in any pain, and like the way you also do that sequence is so interesting because it's this like the flame effects are this really fascinating compositing thing where it's like a kind of like it looks like a difference composite over her, and it's like this kind of almost the
Mhm.
flames in her are both in the same zone and also they're separate from each other. Um, there was like a very
Yeah.
yeah, it's can you talk through the conception of that fire effect? Because I obviously you can't set her on fire, but you know, but how are you thinking through putting it together like that?
Yeah, it was almost, it felt like more of of a spiritual spontaneous combustion. It was something kind of removed from herself. I mean, it's like it was a lot more forgiving than showing her like burning and screaming.
Mhm. Yeah.
I don't want to show something like that.
Yeah, that would definitely have a very different energy at the end of the movie if she was screaming. Yeah.
Yeah, you just feel sad, and I mean, maybe you did feel sad in general, but I think
Yeah, both.
I love. Yeah, there's like a hope with everything. I don't know. Like I felt she was in a better place by the end.
There's also something that one of the things that I think makes that scene feel a little less than absolutely horrible is, and this is just some movie magic, is that the leg prosthetic is great. It's a really great fake leg, and it's
I
just
think
something you
Steve
just get to
Bell.
James Bell, yeah, right, James Bell, who I wanted to mention, right,
Like,
who go on to veryfinecrapvids.com right now, and you will have an interesting time.
yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that leg is like one of the reasons I like that leg is just because it's a prop, you know, it looks real, but it also, you know, it's a prop and it's kind of exciting in that like you're making a movie kind of energy, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I love the leg. I wish I still had. I had to sell it because I needed the money, but
So did you buy the leg just off of James Bell's website or was that a special commission?
it was a special commission. I took pictures of Angela. She's the main in it, and I sent pictures of her leg to James, and I was like, just try to match this. And then he sent me that in a weird box in the mail. So crazy getting a leg in the mail.
Oh, my God. Have you seen any of his movies of the ones he's directed with
Yeah, he sent in the box with the leg came a DVD copy of Evaporation.
Yeah, it's okay. We have that on the shelf for us as well right here. Yeah, cool. That is
Yeah, I
crazy.
watched Evaporation. I love them. I think they're awesome. They're total cool just showcases of his weird makeup and stuff.
Yeah, totally. They just feel like they're like, we just need to have a reason to have this makeup being
Yeah,
showcased, right? Yeah.
yeah, I love it.
Uh,
And he makes his wife, right?
yeah, they're I think they're
Yeah,
co-directors on that one and the Bleak. So it seems very wholesome in its own horrific way.
yeah. Those ones feel really wholesome. I watched one called like Dog Dick or
Yeah,
something like that.
I haven't seen that one yet.
That one's not that wholesome.
Mhm.
That one made me sad.
It's yeah, it looked a bit like Gummo core to me, which is not
No,
necessarily.
it's pretty gummo core, but there's this one scene in it that it's pretty edgelord, and it was all I don't know. It's like it. I don't know. It it's not as fun as the other ones I watched.
If you ever see the Bleak, which definitely feels like of a piece with Evaporation, um,
Okay, I'll get that
it-
one. Yeah,
that one I will just say like it is. There is a scene in the middle of it that makes it like overall less fun than Evaporation because it is just
okay,
like extremely graphic and like semi unsimulated sex stuff. And I was seeing things that I'd seen on the website. Like I was seeing certain prosthetics that had been shocking to me on the website, and I was like, oh, this is where they're from. Okay. And that was like the
Oh,
only distance. Like half of it was like, oh, you sell
yeah,
like 15 of these. Great. But
yeah,
fascinating films.
yeah, yeah. He's great. I want to meet him in real life one day.
He seems yeah, I read someone online where when he sells prosthetics at conventions, someone said, oh, like can I check out one of your movies? And he was like, I don't know. I don't know if you want to see one of the movies. I don't really know if you're. He was like trying to like.
And it's like, this isn't going to be your thing.
Yeah. And the person was like, "No, I've seen the guinea pig movies." He was like, "Okay," but like the idea of him like having these like torn off penises on the table and then being like, I don't know if you want to see
Right.
the movie."
Well, like yeah, I don't know. Like I did sell the leg eventually on eBay, and it was definitely probably bought by like a film student. I like this idea of this traveling leg that's just going around being used for people's films. Like, who knows? Like, maybe it's like a war movie or whatever. But yeah, it's cool.
the art is traveling. That's beautiful.
Yeah,
Um, Okay, so okay, was we're kind of I got a question here. It's kind of a material question. I'm just curious about. So, Absence of Milk in the Mouths of the Lost is on a Blu-ray through Vinegar Syndrome sublabel Art Label. Go buy it.
art
It's
label,
good. Sorry,
art label.
Art
Yes,
Label.
it's my
So
friend Warren. Yeah,
cool.
he
And
produced the movie too. He produced it
oh, we produced the movie as well.
and
Okay.
shot half of the movie too.
Oh, great. Okay,
It was
wonderful.
very much made to be on art label.
Okay, interesting. Because this basically my question was just like, it's a great Blu-ray. What was your experience of like how did that happen, and what was your experience of it? Yeah.
Well, it was one of those things where I was working at a video store, and the video store had a copy of King Baby. Warren came into the video store and he rented King Baby. And I think he asked me if he liked the movie, and I think he wanted to put King Baby out as like a bigger release. And I was like, well, like I was like, I just finished this script that I like more than King Baby, and I thought it was more developed, and I was more excited to go approach that, and that was Absence of Milk. And he was like, okay, yeah. And then we talked, and he was down to. I know he well, this was before Art Label existed, but he wanted to create this label with that would house these kind of art house micro budget films. And I suggest checking out everything on that Warren's putting out. But yeah, so I think it was kind of maybe like a guinea pig for the label, really. But he had a great black magic camera, and he was down to shoot it, and that was always it was weird. It was like almost like the film had distribution before it was even made. That doesn't really happen ever.
Yeah.
You know?
Very
Yeah,
rare, right? Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And have you found like why have you found the process like as it being a Blu-ray? Are you happy with how it went? Are you still feeling rocking about it?
I love it because I love physical media.
Hmm.
Like I love physical media. Like I'm just so happy that it's out there and it exists and people own it and people bring it to me and I sign it. And like I just think it's so cool, and it has like a booklet in it with behind the scenes, and it's like I'm just a physical media guy. I have all my movies. I love it, and I love the special features, and there's great special features on the Blu-ray. And I like that you can explore movies further. There's a commentary on it. It just gave me more ways to express myself.
And again, I second it. Buy the Blu-ray, everybody. It's really good. You can watch Herbert on there as well, right?
Yes, that's the short film that I made, I think in 2016, that Gary Wilson scored. I
Mhm.
added that as a special feature just because it was Gary Wilson.
Really good short film. Really good movie. Makes me sad to think
Yeah.
about it. That one, I haven't seen that one in a hot minute, but I remember feeling very, very sad at the end of that film. So,
Yeah, that to be honest, out of all of my films, for some reason, that Herbert's the one that is really hard for me to watch.
mhm.
I don't know why. I just get so much. I can't even look at like the end. I just can't even look at it. It just makes me. I love that character so much.
You heard it here, folks. The movie that Case himself has trouble watching, only on the Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Um, okay, you're working on, as you already talked about a bit, but you're working on some new micro budget movies. You're working on you're working on the euthanasia of the, wait, I'm not going to get it, but the euthanasia of the still fluttering heart. Is that what it's called?
Oh, that's a good one. It's close. To euthanize a still fluttering spirit. That's the name of my next feature film.
Mhm.
I do not have an answer of when that will be completed. The script is completed. I'm really, really happy. It's probably the best thing I've ever written. And I want to give it the justice that I think it deserves. But
Mhm.
in the meantime, I'm finishing up the holiday trilogy. We're making the Christmas episode right now called Harmony in Hydrochloric Hospital. and that will be the Christmas episode.
Beautiful. And then the Valentine's Day one is the last one of the trilogy.
Yeah, does not have a title, and it is not written, and I only know that it's Valentine's Day, and that's as far as I have for that one.
It's enough. It's an evocative holiday. I'm sure you'll find
Yeah,
it.
yeah, I'm excited to actually be able to sit down and just think about love.
Mhm.
And what am I gonna do? I just like how broad it is too. I could just make something about love, and I've dealt enough with that, so I'm gonna be like, that'll be a fun one for sure.
You
Don't
think
know
you
what
got
I'm gonna.
you think you got like a straightforward romance in you? You feel like you have just like a Bridges of Madison County in you?
Mm, no, maybe not yet though. Maybe in like maybe in my 50s.
There we go. Yeah, when you're yeah, you got to get to Clint Eastwood age to be able to.
Yeah, I want to make something that's just like, I don't know, like super straightforward or something. I mean, actually, To Euthanize a Still Fluttering Spirit is actually probably my most traditional film. It's a biopic, um, but it's definitely my most traditional, like beat by beat film. I'm kind of excited to do that.
Awesome. Awesome. I'm excited too. All right, my last question is, are there any questions you'd wish I'd asked you?
Hmm. No, I don't think so. I mean, I don't,
Hell yeah,
I
my
don't know.
job. I did it.
I do a lot of Q&As, but I don't ever really, I'm not expecting anything. I don't know.
Sometimes there's stories that want to be that people are like, I
Uh,
want to tell this story, or no one ever asked me this. So sometimes people are like,
uh,
here we go. Yeah,
I mean, see, now I have a bunch of stories in my head, but some of them they're just so long that we won't, I don't know. They're just so, maybe next time.
maybe next time. All right, next
Fun one.
time when we chat with the next film, hopefully,
Mhm.
we'll hear one of these beautiful long stories.
Oh yeah. Yeah. One day, I mean, Absence of Milk is based on a lot of real people, and I've gotten to the point where I'm kind of almost feeling more comfortable to talk about those people, but it's also like it's such an iceberg. So
Mhm.
next time.
Well, you asked me if I wanted to add something else, and then I thought of it, but maybe you can edit this in the interview or something seamlessly. But you were the only one who wrote about the movie where you were acknowledging Jackson C. Frank as an artist because if anyone doesn't know, Jackson C. Frank is the guy who did the song at the end of the movie called October. And I kind of just like started with that song. I'm obsessed with Jackson C. Frank. He's one of my favorite songwriters of all time. I think he's probably the greatest songwriter of all time. But he, his spirit was like if he was someone who was still alive or around, like I would have probably like reached out to him and made a movie with him the same way I did with like Gary Wilson or Superstar or any other person that's coming up that I'm working with. But Jackson C. Frank's not around anymore, but his spirit and legacy and his songwriting is so influential to me. And sometimes I think we all go up in smoke. That's a line from the song October about the end of the month of October. And he was a burned victim, and his songs are all about him kind of grieving and dealing with the loss. Like his elementary school burned down when he was a kid, and he spent his whole life kind of with that survivor's guilt and kind of this like reckoning with how he was like all his grade school crushes and loves and first experiences in his life they all passed away and they don't exist anymore, and he has to carry these legitimate burn marks on his body while he writes these songs about it. And I think he's tapped into something that is so otherworldly and so from another dimension, almost more than any other songwriter I've ever heard. So Jackson C. Frank is like my favorite artist, like and yeah, he's the one responsible for the title. Sometimes I think we all go up in smoke.
Well, Case, thank you so much for chatting to me today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, yeah, love you, Australia. Thanks. Have they watched my films already, or this is after, right?
This will be after, so they've seen the movies already.
Oh, they okay. All right, cool,
But yeah, and then
cool.
they would have, and theoretically, if they're getting to this part of the interview, they are at home or on the train watching or listening to it.
Oh, great, cool. Yeah.
Oh yeah. All right, I'm gonna stop recording, matey. All right.